Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Rosalie here, and I'm excited. Today, we're going to talk about overgiving to overflow, energetic boundaries as a sacred practice. And this will resonate with you if you are feeling drained all the time, if you're the one that everyone comes to when there's a problem or they need someone to speak to about how they feel, and you feel like you're pouring into others, but you're barely holding yourself together. And you might find it hard to say no, because you kind of disguise it as, well, I'm caring, I'm kind, I'm empathetic, but deep down there's this underlying fear of disappointing someone, of feeling misunderstood or rejected, and or being painted as the bad guy or the unkind one. If this resonates, then this video is for you. I want to talk about learning boundaries, and because it's changed my life, and I know there's so many of us who can benefit from this information, because when we create our own energetic boundaries, we protect our energy, and we do it without feeling guilty, without fear, without shutting anyone out, and we hold the sacred space for ourselves. Um, and again, it's not about feeling guilty about, okay, now I'm prioritizing myself over someone else, or feeling like you're selfish, because that's part of the conditioning of our culture and of just, our family, our relationships, what we're told even at school and, the workplace is, constantly give, give, give of yourself, right? But we want to make sure we are giving from our overflow, and so that we aren't burnt out, we aren't stressed, we aren't resentful, and we are truly giving unconditionally. Um, so let's talk about overgiving and what it means to shift from, again, constantly pouring out all of your energy, displacing, like giving, 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 and instead live from that place of overflow. So you can, again, give from fullness instead of your exhaustion. So number one, what overgiving actually is. And again, it might look like kindness, and maybe you have the best intentions, and it feels like it, but sometimes it's really us trying to earn people's admiration, earn people's trust, earn people's love. And on the flip side of that, avoid being rejected, avoid conflict, confrontation, and in a way prove that we're enough for this situation, this person, this job or career, or whatever it is that you're pouring into constantly. Um, and overgiving looks like saying yes, even though you're tired, even though deep down inside it's resonating no. And, you know, y- this might resonate for some of the people who are in the service community. You feel like you're constantly holding space, constantly giving your attention, constantly giving of your energy, but you feel depleted inside to the point where you risk burnout. And, you're taking care of everyone else's needs, but ignoring your own needs, ignoring your own, um, not just physical needs, but it could be emotional needs, spiritual needs, all the different needs, right? And the truth is that is not love. It's survival mode. So, um, part two, the shift that into healthy, loving boundaries. So, knowing that that is not healthy and unsustainable, then how can we then, number two, shift into a place where we do have those loving boundaries, energetic boundaries, so we can remain healthy, and sustain ourselves. So it's, instead of looking at it from a place of, will people still see me this way if I say no? Or will, because what's happening is if we say yes or no, we're constantly thinking of the outcome of, well, what's going to happen and what will people think and how will I be perceived? And um, again, the worry and the anxiousness that comes with every decision that we make. where again we're that is also draining our energy, pouring from this pouring that energy into this outcome that hasn't even happened yet. And the underlying frequency there is fear of what might happen if I choose this decision over this decision. And so we choose the people pleasing decision, we choose the I will pour into them decision, we will choose them over me decision, to again where it leaves us drained. And you might become resentful and not realize it's not that you're being taken advantage of, and it could be part of that, but you also were part of the equation of allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. And in a way, it's how when we gain that awareness, we can stop betraying ourselves and position ourselves in a point of empowerment to choose and relinquish, the control over, well, what might the outcome be, and what will they think of me, and all the worry and the fear. And again, don't perceive yourself as being cold or selfish, um, and just recognize that you're being honest, and it's healthy to be have boundaries, and honest with yourself, honest with others, because part of the reason why we do that as well is not only are we judging others based on how we think they're going to react to us, based on the decision we choose, but also the judgment of ourselves, the abandonment of ourselves in this process of, you should be giving. You should, I know you're tired, but remember they did this for you, so you should say yes. And all the things, the stories that play in our mind about why we should constantly pour into other people. Um, so you can still wholeheartedly care and fully love and want to serve people while still saying yes to yourself. You can still care about others and still choose, I'm going to take care of me right now. And you can still choose, I need space, I need time to rest. I can come back and give when I'm full, when my cup is filled, when I have something to give, right? So, how can we a place of neutrality and less self judgment to approach it in a way that is respectful of ourselves and our boundaries, while still honoring, other people and ourselves as well. Don't forget ourselves in that equation. Number three, what think of your a turning point for you, right? Maybe it was if you've dealt with this, maybe you constantly felt depleted. And let me see yeah. um maybe you're on this verge of wanting to change, or maybe you are in this people pleasing, over giving, no boundary mode, and didn't even realize that it was an issue, right? You might be, a lot of us might be on either side of that spectrum, where we're giving, 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 and where it's not helping, and we're at the point of burnout, or we're giving, 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 and don't even realize there's a problem. We think, oh, it's fine, I still love it, and but also not honoring ourselves. So, and there might be all the variations in between that, but you have to realize, as much as you love helping people, serving people, really truly ask yourself, like, what's going to be the turning point for me to realize that I also need to prioritize myself? Because truly ask yourself, like, is this sustainable how I am showing up in my life, in my community, with my relationships, with my family, in my job? And truly reflect and see, are you honoring your limits? Are you honoring your boundaries, or are you overextending yourself for everyone else to be everything for everyone? Um, and start tuning into yourself and see and check in and see, okay, is this aligned? Do I actually want to do this? How do I feel in the situation when I am giving and I have this energy exchange? And prioritize grounding yourself first in your energy, in your field, in your own inner knowing and wisdom, and take the aligned step if it truly is a yes for you to give in that situation, and slow down instead of going hyper speed and just saying yes, 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 yes to everything, and constantly giving. Because when you can approach it in a more grounded, calm way, you will have the awareness to choose an aligned yes to whatever situation it is and be able to give freely and not feel resentful or burnt out. Um, so yeah, recognize um where on the spectrum do you lie? Are you one that's aware that you're giving too much and it's depleting you, or are you still very much giving a lot, but you're still okay with it, but like there's so many different areas we could be in right now. But all of us can just tune in, reflect, and realize, am I grounded in my decisions when I'm saying yes to giving to people? And this is really going to set you up to be successful in not overgiving too much, right? And prioritizing yourself and having those boundaries for your own energy and your own being. Okay, number 4, overflow is a practice. So it's not something like where everything is perfect and um you have to have all your ducks in a row to feel like you're feeling overflowing and abundant to give, right? It's just a daily choice, right? A decision that you where you understand how you're feeling, what your energy is like, and you stay connected to you and take care of yourself before pouring into someone else. So um when you're in overflow, your energy feels different. You feel fueled, you feel sourced, you feel inspired, you um, don't feel tired, right? You have the energy and you're giving from wholeness, from this whole healthy aspect of who you are, and not from pressure, not from guilt, not from expectation, and not from fear. And you're not giving out of obligation, you're giving because you truly want to. Because some people might give, 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 and think, well, I want to give. I love people and I'm caring and I'm empathetic. But they don't realize that there's all these strings attached to why they're giving and they don't even realize it. Um, and then they finally wake up to it when they're burnt out or when something has happened where they're just kind of fed up and done. And then they kind of start to realize, oh my gosh, why was I giving so much? And what did I feel like that it said about me? And um, but again, when you become and you have that awareness, start to practice only choosing aligned yeses to things and honoring that for yourself, because it might be hard at first to decline things and say no to things and say no to people. But again, it's a practice, it's practice. So when you say no to something, that is your boundary, your energetic boundary, that is the energetic choice to decline that outsourcing of energy and keep your cup full. And then from there you overflow and you choose, okay, I'm going to pour into this cup now, or I'm going to pour into this person or this event or whatever it is that you're working on or giving your attention to. Um, okay, number 5, simple practices to protect your energy. And so, number 1, start with yourself. Check in with yourself and ask yourself, how do I feel about this? Is this something that I need? Or what do I want to do? And kind of reflect first, especially like with technology now, we get like a text message or not even people don't even call, I feel like anymore. Not everybody does, but you get a text message like, hey, are you free to hang out? Let's do this today, blah, blah, blah. And Some of us might be, super quick to respond and say, "Okay, good, cool, I'll be there." And we think that's healthy. We think that's being a good friend. We think that's showing up for the people we love, but really that's just lacking any boundaries. And I can relate to this because I used to be that person too, where anybody that I loved or close friends or family members who were like, "Hey, can you do this? This is this at this time, like today or 1 hour from now?" And I would be like, "Sure, I'm not doing anything. Sure, I'll be there." Done. Drop everything I was doing and do that for that person. And I thought, I had the intention of, oh, I'm showing up for people. I care about them and I want to show them that I love them, blah, blah, blah. And it just left me feeling burnt out. It was never reciprocated. And or hardly, and I just felt resentful, right? Because I was constantly putting myself last, constantly betraying myself, and constantly telling myself you're not good enough. I'm going to prioritize everyone else's needs before my own. And so that's why number one is just check in with yourself and ask and reflect and within and see, is this really something I want to do? How do I feel about this? Where am I at today? Um, and have that inner dialogue with yourself, and honor yourself and your what your soul needs and is telling you. Okay, number two, which is connected with number one, pause before saying yes to anything. So just like in the first example, instead of like getting on your phone and texting, sure, be there, see you soon. Um, give yourself time and space and kind of, practicing, let me get back to you. I'll get back to you. And allow that space. And I feel like even now in this culture, people like space and time and just waiting makes people uncomfortable because we're so used to instant gratification, instant messaging, instant connection, instant. And when you can create that space in between, that is a boundary. And just even hearing the word space before you respond, it feels like, do you feel that? The energy just feels spacious. Yes, because there's um, right? Let me get back to you. There's some time passing. There's energetic freedom. It feels like freedom. It feels like expansion because you're not just constantly constricting to yes, yes, right? Or it's almost like you're not cutting your own energy off. You're um, allowing yourself to be instead of constricting it to plug into someone else, right? Um, and you have that choice then. You gain the choice and you get access to that sovereignty of, oh, I get to choose for me. And that is empowering and it feels good. It might not at first for us, or I should say I used to be, but people pleasing and people pleasers and yes men, yes people who want to say yes to everything. So it might feel like not good at first, but the more you do it with those aligned steps and practice, it's going to feel better and better. Number three, clear your energy. So after being around people or, you know, you might be feeling a little bogged down by people's energy, you can clear your energy and take, breathe deeply, and kind of tune into your heart space and saying, I let go of what's not mine. I call all my energy back to me. Because anytime you pour into someone, whether you realize or not, there's an exchange going. And there are a lot of other different guided visualizations or meditations that I do to help clear my energy too. But I think that is super important. Like if you just Googled like clearing energy visualizations or meditations, this I feel like is very important to clear your energetic field, which will help you feel more clear and have more peace and clarity and not feel so heavy. Like, why do I feel so heavy? Maybe, and you might be, bogged down with lots of energy that you've absorbed without even realizing it. So definitely good idea to clean your energy field, your aura of that. So yeah, um, let me think if there's anything else. Anything else for boundaries? I think, the last thing I'll speak to is for a lot of people that I see, like clients that I help. Another one is boundaries with family members, um, or friends or relationships that might not be aligned anymore, especially when they're embarking on their own spiritual path and journey and deepening into their truth and starting to move in a very aligned way. Um, you know, people can feel very misunderstood and it's a very like it can be a very sensitive subject to bring up the topic of family or members who might not understand them and what they're going through. And what I say to that is continue being authentically you, continue deepening into your truth, continue walking the aligned path, and disregard the feedback you might be getting from some of these family members or friends or people who still want you to act in a certain way, and recognize that you don't have to connect yourself back to these old relationships, especially if they don't feel aligned anymore. Um, because what can happen is what, especially with family, because we have even just going back to your old hometown or old home, or you kind of get sucked into that old energy of who you were then with them, and it's almost like the boundaries disappear, or like they quiver a little bit or weaken because you're so attuned, or you have almost like this muscle memory of the energy you embodied when you were a child or a teenager or whatever you were around certain family members or friends or cities, and areas and spaces, and recognize, um, hold your frequency in those spaces, and feel that boundary, and you'll feel the boundary when you make the conscious choice to choose to behave otherwise, to choose an aligned action or step that's in an embodiment of who you're becoming, not the old you. Because what happens is sometimes we go into these old places and the energy, the feeling is so, we're in this environment that almost like swoops us into this old feeling and energy of who we were before, that we might feel almost like suffocated. I feel like some of the ways my clients describe it is, and I felt it too, going hang out with certain old people, or that kind of reminded you of your old self. And this is also not, I don't want to say a test, but opportunities for you to strengthen your current frequency that you're embodying. Because if you notice that you do tend to get sucked back into behaving like the old you, then that's your signal to you. Oh, why did I go back to doing that? Is that really what I value or believe in, or know was true for me or right for me? No, then what is still causing me to go back there? And there still might be something there you need to look at or release or transmute, to to deepen into your embodiment of who you are becoming. And then the next time you show up, you'll be able to practice that step in a more embodied way, um, because you'll have the awareness and the consciousness, to shift your perception of, okay, what's happening here, and then create that space before you choose your reaction, choose your action and your response, you create that space in between. Um, and this is like tying some behaviorism, which is funny because I used to work in behaviorism too. In a behaviorist role with a school district. But anyway, you creating that space and then choosing a conscious response. So then that is the boundary. The space is the boundary because you're not allowing an environment, a relationship, certain person to direct how your energy should go or how you should be using your energy. You are becoming aware of this dynamic and you're creating the space and the choice to not respond until you are ready to respond in the most aligned, conscious, most expansive way that you know how to in that moment. And that's what creates the change, right? And that I feel like is one of the most important boundaries that we can practice because it's really easy to practice boundaries when you are just texting someone, no thanks, I don't want to come, or or kind of from afar, right? Or on the internet, or not really in the thick of it. But it's another level when you can be in the middle of noise, chaos, old relationships and family members and whatever it is, and that are constantly pinging you of the old version of you. Then there's this new level of, can I hold my boundaries then? And it's interesting that people think of boundaries as walls, but they're not necessarily walls. Again, when I think of a boundary, I love the word space because what happens is you're so in tune with who you are and your own energy that you don't allow anyone to direct your energy um, by you being reactive to something. You create, again, are aware of the space and create the space between um, you and your engagement with whatever is happening. And so then you are consciously manifesting the outcome and the experience that you desire instead of reacting, reacting, reacting. Um, yeah, hopefully that made sense and that helped. But again, boundaries is just something that I feel like we all can use more practice on because especially if we work in the healing space or in the service community like I was teaching or coaching or healers and recognize and be aware of your own energetic boundaries and cleanse your energy because it is super important to make sure you're not um, depleting yourself of your life force energy. So hopefully again this helped, but I love this topic, and if you have any questions feel free to leave a comment or you can message me directly, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.